Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to becoming truly well-informed. We take the material you share and extract the core insights and surprising facts, saving you the digging.
And today, we're plunging into a fascinating collection of material provided by one of you. It's transcripts from the YouTube channels Coffee and Cults and Milo Tequila.
Right.
Our mission is to really understand the trajectory of Lindsay Lohan's early career and public life. We're mostly looking at, say, 2003 up to the late 2010s.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're looking at that period where Lindsay Lohan went from, beloved teen star to basically a constant presence in the tabloids.
Exactly.
It's so easy to get lost in just the sheer volume of headlines, right? So we're aiming to maybe identify the real turning points and understand the forces at play.
Precisely. We want to get beyond just the surface level gossip and maybe explore some of the less discussed details that really shaped this chapter of her life. What stood out to you initially from these transcripts?
Well, it seems like even pretty early on, maybe around 2003, despite the huge successes, there were already hints of trouble. Those rumors about difficulties on set. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, that very public triangle with Aaron Carter and Hilary Duff.
Yeah, what's fascinating there is how that, seemingly personal drama just ignited this huge public rivalry.
Totally.
The whole back and forth with Aaron Carter, him going back to Hilary Duff, it was like a soap opera playing out in real time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the media just amplified every single twist.
And this all seemed to really come to a head during that famous Vanity Fair cover shoot in July 2003, the one with all those teen stars.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, it wasn't just a simple photo shoot. There was some serious behind-the-scenes friction going on.
That incident, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems trivial maybe, but it actually reveals the intense pressure in these carefully constructed hierarchies within young Hollywood back then.
Right.
Even something like where you were placed on a fold-out cover. It wasn't just about a photo. It's signified, perceived power and status in this hyper-competitive environment. But the detail about Hilary Duff actually bringing Aaron Carter to the set that really shines a light on the personal tensions involved.
Right. The Coffee and Cults transcript mentions Lohan was not happy about that. At all, and even tried to get him removed from the set.
Wow.
Apparently, it caused enough of a disruption that the whole shoot was paused for hours. Makes you wonder about the level of control these young stars, or maybe their team, were trying to exert. It
really underscores how even at these seemingly glamorous events, personal dynamics and perceived slights could just create significant drama. And of course, the media was always ready to capitalize on any hint of conflict.
They definitely were. And the drama just kept rolling. The Freaky Friday premiere happened the next month, right?
Yeah.
And Hilary Duff turned up with Chad Michael Murray, who, just to add another layer, was Lohan's co-star in the movie and her first on-screen kiss.
Oh, wow. Talk about a tangled web.
Right.
It's almost as if these personal relationships were deliberately playing out in public, just further fueling that whole rivalry narrative.
Yeah.
It raises the question of how much was genuine conflict and how much was maybe amplified or even, manufactured by the publicity machine around them.
That's a good point. Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. Latter part of 2003, early 2004. Lindsay is incredibly busy. She's filming both Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen and Mean Girls.
Yeah, her career was seriously taking off then.
Yeah.
Huge media attention followed.
Totally cemented her status as a major teen idol. She was everywhere, magazine covers, red carpets, talk shows, you name it.
But, that intense level of fame inevitably brought way more scrutiny.
Yeah.
To all aspects of her life.
And the Coffee and Cults transcript touches on some maybe darker undercurrents too. It mentions Wilmer Valderrama, Ashton Kutcher, and Danny Masters, and their alleged proximity to young female stars at the time. It certainly makes you pause and think about the power dynamics. Right?
It does. And if you connect that to the broader context of Hollywood in the early 2000s, well, there was a certain culture around relationships between young female celebs and older established men.
Yeah.
That now, with hindsight and greater awareness, raises pretty significant concerns about potential exploitation and abuse of power.
And alongside this rapid rise to fame, reports started surfacing about Lohan partying, being late to set.
Right. The whispers started.
Nothing earth-shattering yet, but They were there. Plus, she was dealing with her parents' really public, really messy divorce, and her father's legal problems, substance use issues, all splashed across the tabloids.
Yeah, that must have been an incredibly destabilizing environment to navigate.
Totally.
It's hard to imagine managing that level of personal turmoil while also trying to handle a demanding career under just constant public scrutiny. The relentless media focus on her family life must have added immense pressure.
The timeline gets a little fuzzy here, but the sources suggest maybe a rumored involvement with Ashton Kutcher before she was linked to Wilmer Valderrama. The Coffee and Cults transcript even hints at maybe some early intimacy with Valderrama. These alleged relationships definitely ramped up the paparazzi focus.
Right. These rumored connections, especially with older, established figures, it fits a pattern you often see with young celebrities, doesn't it? Where their personal lives just become fodder for public consumption and endless speculation.
Then came her first time hosting SNL, which was a huge deal, right? Especially for a 17-year-old.
Massive milestone.
Apparently, when she tried to explain the whole, intricate details of her feud with Hilary Duff, Tina Fey, and Amy Poehler, they didn't quite get the gravity of it all in teen celeb world.
Yeah, it's a funny little detail. Kind of humanizes everyone involved,
It really does.
That anecdote just highlights the often insular nature of celebrity culture. But it seems like major drama inside that bubble might look pretty different to outsiders.
And that same summer, she was the youngest ever host of the MTV Movie Awards.
Right.
Which included that kind of controversial commercial with Pete. The Coffee and Cults transcript describes their interaction as feeling a bit, gross and inappropriate is the wording used in terms of the dynamic.
Yeah, the commercial, viewed through a more contemporary lens, it definitely raises questions about, the normalization of certain interactions between adult male celebrities and very young female stars during that era.
For the rest of that summer into the fall of 2004, the paparazzi were just laser focused on Lindsay and Wilmer's relationship.
Intense.
Then, right after she turned 18 in July, boom, they publicly acknowledged their relationship.
Yeah, seems unlikely it only began right then. The sources certainly imply a longer history.
Definitely.
The timing of that public announcement strongly suggests they were waiting for her to hit the age of majority, right?
I guess so.
The crazy paparazzi attention made it almost impossible to keep a relationship quiet for long, especially for such high-profile figures.
And the spending. The transcripts mention lavish purchases, apparently even looking at rings with Valderrama.
Oh, wow.
She also did that guest appearance on that 70s show where Valderrama was a main cast member. Shows how intertwined their lives had become.
Yeah, that guest spot was a pretty clear sign of their close personal and professional connection then. It's common for celebrity relationships to kind of blur those lines.
But alongside this seemingly great romance and career success, the accusations kept coming, partying, potential substance use.
The rumors circulated.
And then her father got arrested at her sibling's christening for assaulting his wife's brother. It just paints this picture of significant instability in her immediate family.
Yeah, that event really underscores the considerable personal challenges she was facing outside her career. And the very, very public nature of her family's struggles must have just added immense pressure.
So the period of late 2004 and 2005, often called her career peak, right? She filmed Herbie, fully loaded for a huge salary, like $7.5 million.
Yeah, a massive payday.
But there's also this sense that her personal life was really starting to overshadow her work. I mean, that kind of money at such a young age must bring its own pressures, too.
Absolutely. That salary definitely reflected her huge popularity and market value right then.
For sure.
However, the sources suggest this is a crucial shift in the public narrative. The focus starts moving away from her acting roles and more towards her personal struggles and public behavior.
The breakup with Wilmer Valderrama happened towards the end of 2004. Apparently, there was a breakup song involved. She moved out. Then came her debut album, Speak, in December 2004, but its release was delayed because she was hospitalized for a swollen liver and a kidney infection.
Yeah, those are significant health issues. Raises questions about her lifestyle at the time, doesn't it?
It does.
That hospitalization, especially mentioning a swollen liver, it does suggest the rumors of heavy partying might have had some basis in reality, indicating a potential strain on her physical health.
And the reputation for causing issues on set, being consistently late, that started to really solidify around this time.
Yeah, it became part of her narrative.
And she began socializing heavily with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. It was really the height of that early 2000s, socialing.
Oh, yeah, the era of the celebrity it girl. Lindsay was definitely part of that high-profile social circuit. The constant partying, the public appearances with Hilton and Richie, that became a huge part of her public image, for better or worse.
She even signed a new record deal with Tommy Mottola. Speak, the album, it actually did well commercially despite pretty mixed reviews from critics.
Right. It highlights her strong connection with that young audience, even if the music itself wasn't, universally praised.
Her appeal to that demographic was undeniable, wasn't it?
Totally. And the music career was a smart way to capitalize further on her existing fame, even if critical acclaim wasn't really the main goal.
living in hotels like the Chateau Marmont. Reports of just excessive spending on jewelry, designer bags, spa treatments. It paints a picture, doesn't it? A young person with seemingly endless money and maybe not much guidance on managing it.
Yeah, it sounds like a recipe for potential problems.
And then Herbie, Fully Loaded, was a box office hit, but there were those rumors that Disney digitally altered her appearance and limited her in the promotional material.
Ouch. That must have felt like a real setback.
Yeah, for a young star at her perceived peak, those kinds of alleged actions by a major studio, that would likely be a big blow to her confidence. And it could signal a shift in how the industry viewed her marketability, you know?
Absolutely.
The song she recorded for Herbie got moved to the credits. Apparently she was furious about it. Her second album, a little more personal, Raw, came out December 2005. Didn't do nearly as well as the first one.
Right.
By this point, as the sources really emphasize, her personal life had just become the dominant narrative surrounding her. It totally took over.
Yeah. The title of that second album, a little more personal, Raw. It almost seems ironic looking back, given how intensely public and often, well, unvarnished her personal struggles were becoming.
Good point.
It marks a clear moment where her off-screen life really started to overshadow her professional work.
And then we get into the era of the feud with Paris Hilton. That's a major focus in the Mila Tequila transcripts.
Ah, yes, that whole saga.
Apparently they were initially part of the same clubbing crowd, right? Until Paris and Nicole Richie had their big falling out around 2005. Suddenly, Lindsay was seen more and more with Nicole. These social dynamics in Hollywood seem incredibly fluid, often based on shifting alliances, it seems.
Definitely. The shifting allegiances within those high-profile social circles just added another layer of intrigue and drama for the public to follow.
Yeah.
And the constant media attention on these relationships only amplified any perceived conflict.
Around this time, there were also more rumors about Lindsay's health, speculation about eating disorders, potential drug use.
Right, those persisted.
There was even a viral email and loads of blind items detailing alleged drug use. Her publicist strongly denied everything, of course.
Naturally.
But the Mila Tequila transcript suggests that some of those hospitalizations that were attributed to exhaustion might have actually been something else.
The persistent rumors, coupled with sometimes vague explanations for health issues, that often just fuels more speculation in the public eye, doesn't it?
Totally.
It creates this sense that there's maybe more to the story than what's being officially presented.
Then came the hacking of Paris Hilton's sidekick's phone in February 2005. That revealed alleged text messages between Paris and Lindsay where they were, like, talking trash about other celebrities.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Ashley and Jessica Simpson were mentioned, right?
Exactly. It's hard to know the full context or intent, obviously, but they certainly added fuel to the already burning celebrity gossip fire.
In that pre-social media era, those kinds of leaked private messages gave a relatively unfiltered glimpse into the often competitive, often critical world of celebrity relationships, usually revealing less than flattering opinions.
Then the fire crotch incident in May 2006, Brandon Davis's just incredibly crude comments. That was a real low point.
Ugh, yeah, vicious stuff.
The media storm afterwards was intense, and Paris Hilton reportedly singing the Firecrotch song at her own album release party. That was a particularly nasty escalation of the feud.
Wow. That incident really highlighted the often just dehumanizing nature of tabloid culture and how quickly personal attacks could become public entertainment. It's pretty grim.
Lindsay's phone was also allegedly hacked around the same time. Suspicion reportedly fell on Paris.
More drama.
Then the director of Georgia Rule wrote that now infamous open letter detailing Lindsay's unprofessional behavior on set being absent.
Right, James C. Robinson.
Yeah. The Coffee and Cults transcript marks this as a really significant turning point, a sharp downward turn for her.
I think that's fair. That public letter was critical. It brought all the behind-the-scenes issues right out into the open.
Yeah.
And it likely made other filmmakers really hesitant to work with her, fearing similar disruptions. It damaged her reputation professionally.
More partying followed, including reports of her partying with Bruce Willis, who was significantly older. That raised eyebrows and fueled more speculation about her personal life. Minor roles in films like Bobby, a reported falling out with Demi Moore and Bruce Willis's daughter, Rumor, even getting turned away from a party hosted by Jessica Simpson.
Oof.
These incidents, they all add up to this narrative of someone maybe struggling with boundaries and professional expectations.
Yeah, these seemingly smaller incidents, when you look at them together, they paint a picture of increasing instability and strained relationships across both her professional and personal life.
Another Vanity Fair cover in 2006, where she reportedly admitted to drug use, only to have her publicist try and retract the statement immediately after. It just suggests a chaotic and reactive way of managing her public image. Right.
Definitely. The attempts at damage control often seem to backfire, just further highlighting the disconnect between the public perception and the efforts to manage it.
And then a friend allegedly selling photos of her apparently using drugs. I mean, that's a huge breach of trust.
Awful. It just underscores the vulnerability that often comes with that level of intense fame.
Then there were allegations of theft, sticky fingers, the transcript called it, hacked emails revealing insults flying between Nicole Richie and some model via Lindsay's account.
It just seemed never-ending, and often quite.
Her 20th birthday party was sponsored by Life and Style magazine, which just shows the level of scrutiny and commercialization of her personal life.
Yeah, everything was monetized, even birthday.
And her hosting gig at the World Music Awards was widely panned. That didn't help things either.
Now, these incidents just illustrate a pattern of maybe erratic behavior and poor judgment, likely made worse by the constant pressure and total lack of privacy.
The lost dog poster left at Paris Hilton's house in 2007. That was just a bizarre, kind of passive-aggressive moment in their ongoing feud. And then that paparazzi photo of Lindsay in Samantha Ronson's car after a night out, it went instantly viral. Their relationship, though clearly romantic to many observers, was often just called a gal pal situation in the mainstream media back then.
Yeah, the media's cautious approach to openly acknowledging same-sex relationships at that time is really notable. Using terms like gal pal reflected a certain societal conservatism, didn't it?
It really did. And of course, the iconic paparazzi shot. Lindsay, Britney Spears, and Paris Hilton crammed into a car, the so-called Holy Trinity.
Yes. That photo.
Even the stories about how that picture actually happened are conflicting, which just adds to its almost mythical status as a symbol of that specific era of young female celebrity under just intense pressure.
That image really has become emblematic of a particular moment in pop culture, hasn't it?
Totally.
Representing the crazy media scrutiny these young women face and the public's fascination with their intertwined, often messy lives. The different accounts of how it happened just enhance its legendary status.
Okay, so moving into 2008, and through the late 2010s, the struggles continued and the legal issues really started to pile up significantly.
Yeah, this is where things get legally complicated.
Public arguments with Samantha Ronson became regular tabloid fodder. Her performance at the American Music Awards while she was clearly sick. It was a tribute to a deceased friend, apparently, but barely audible on the broadcast. It was just overshadowed by concerns about her personal state.
Right.
Even her 4-episode arc on Ugly Betty, which could have been a good step, couldn't escape the focus on her off-screen.
Yeah, her professional work was just increasingly viewed through the lens of her personal difficulty. Made it really challenging for her to regain any kind of serious acting foothold.
The breakup with Samantha Ronson, followed by her moving out of the Chateau Marmont and then becoming a victim of the Bling Ring robberies in 2009. Even when she was the victim of a crime, it somehow seemed to tie back to her celebrity lifestyle and the public perception of her.
Yeah, the Bling Ring incidents really highlighted that intense public fascination with celebrity lifestyles.
Yeah.
And the perceived, accessibility of their private lives and possessions.
Her probation got extended because she failed to attend subsequent.
Right.
Then she missed a DUI progress hearing in 2010, claimed her passport was stolen while she was at the Cannes Film Festival, which led to a bench warrant being issued for her arrest.
Yikes.
Then came drinking bans, alcohol monitoring bracelet, multiple DUIs and arrests between 2010 and 2012. The legal system just became a major fixture in her public narrative.
Yeah, the repeated legal issues signaled a really deepening struggle and maybe an inability to comply with court orders, which further damaged her public image and professional prospects.
The Lifetime movie Liz and Dick got absolutely savaged by critics.
Oh, it was rough.
Her guest appearance on Glee was reportedly plagued by unprofessional behavior again. She was even arrested for allegedly punching a woman in a nightclub. Then her bank accounts were seized by the IRS for unpaid tax. It just felt like this relentless cycle of crisis.
Yeah, each of these incidents just compounded the negative public perception.
Yeah.
And made it increasingly difficult for, mainstream opportunities to come her way.
The leaked list in 2013, her alleged sexual conquests, that became a huge, very controversial story.
Great list, yeah.
Negative publicity surrounded projects like Scary Movie 5 and The Canyons, and a reported physical altercation involving the Hiltons in Miami added another layer of drama.
Right, Baron Hilton, I think.
Yeah, that list regardless of whether it's accurate or not, significantly impacted public perception of her personal life and relationships.
For sure. And the negative reviews and public incidents just further underscored her professional challenges at that point.
A plea deal followed for reckless driving and giving false info to police, resulted in a sentence of rehab, community service, and therapy. Oprah Winfrey's docuseries, Lindsay, in 2014, it was meant as this comeback narrative, right?
That was the idea.
But it reportedly faced filming difficulties and got pretty mixed reviews. Even Oprah's intervention couldn't seem to fully shift the public perception.
No, the Oprah docuseries, despite being high profile, ultimately seemed to just highlight the ongoing challenges she faced in managing her personal life and career. It wasn't the smooth comeback story maybe hoped for.
Her stage debut in London's Speed the Plough, a lawsuit over a mobile app she endorsed, Paris Hilton reigniting the Holy Trinity story in 2017.
Still going.
And then those controversial comments about Harvey Weinstein and the hashtag #MeToo movement in 2017 and 2018.
Yeah, those caused quite a stir.
It seemed like even in later years, the weight of the past just kept resurfacing and generating negative.
Yet these later incidents really demonstrate the enduring impact of her earlier public image and the difficulties of navigating sensitive social issues when you're under such intense scrutiny.
Even her attempts at new ventures, like expanding her business in Greece with the Lohan Beach Club.
The reality show.
And that bizarre viral video with an alleged Syrian refugee family in 2018, that sparked significant negative attention and even accusations of attempted trafficking.
Yeah, those ventures, while maybe intended as a fresh start or a new direction, unfortunately just got mired in controversy too, highlighting the challenges of reshaping a really long-established public narrative.
Wow. Okay. That was a truly deep dive into a lot of material.
It really was.
It's clear that Lindsay Lohan's early career and public life were just far more complex and, frankly, turbulent than just the tabloid headlines often suggested. We've covered a significant amount of ground.
Absolutely. And piecing together the timeline like this really reveals the interconnectedness of all these events and how different factors, personal, professional, media pressure, all contributed to the trajectory of her public life.
For me, some of the surprising or maybe lesser-known details that jumped out were definitely the behind-the-scenes drama at that Vanity Fair shoot back in 2003. The sheer extent of her reported spending at such a young age, the whole saga surrounding that leaked list, obviously.
Yeah, the list of something else.
And even Rose McGowan's kind of unexpected defense of Lohan during the Harvey Weinstein controversy. Didn't see that one coming.
No, those specific instances really do illuminate the immense pressures and complexities she faced. And they challenge some of the more simplistic narratives that have often dominated the media coverage over the years.
Yeah, it's important to remember, as we've discussed all these events, that we're primarily drawing from media reports, public accounts, these YouTube
Sources with their own perspectives.
Exactly. There are always multiple ways to interpret these situations and, the motivations of the individuals involved. We weren't there.
And this raises a crucial point for you, the listener, to maybe think about. Consider the immense impact of very early fame, relentless media scrutiny, and significant personal struggles on an individual's life, and how they end up being perceived by the wider world. And perhaps think more broadly, too, about what societal factors might have contributed to the unfolding of this particular story. It's certainly a lot to consider.
Definitely thought. Thanks for joining us, Di.